my hair. Live.
Perfect. Good morning. Buenos días. Esta sesión va a ser en inglés. La sesión de español va a empezar a las 10 de la mañana. Good morning. This session will be in English. The Spanish session will begin at 10 a.m. So I'll give it about 2-3 minutes to see if any other families join us for the English session. Voy a esperar 2 a 3 minutos para ver si cualquier familia que va a participar en inglés entra aquí a la sesión. How many are still on?
Mm-hmm.
Can I just confirm, good morning once again, can I just confirm everyone who's in the session is English speaking? If so, can you just say a good morning in this session in the comment box? All right, so I'm going to begin today's agenda and information. I'm going to go over distance learning, an overview and expectations. I'm going to go over attendance, reassessments, grades, schedule proposal, and senior updates. So based on my last session, one of the things that I noticed is that there was a lot of questions coming in and I was having a hard time keeping up. So what I'm going to do this morning and what I'll ask that you do, I'm going to go over 2 to 3 slides. I'm going to pause, and at that point, I will take questions, and we will continue to make sure that we answer all questions in a timely manner. So I will begin with distance learning overview and expectations. As mentioned before and said to students, each week, the way it's going to work, teachers will upload 20 to 30-minute videos on Google Classroom that incorporate the following material. These videos will be uploaded by 7:45 a.m. every Monday morning. Things that would be uploaded would be an introduction to materials. They will provide a model or work through an example. They will assign scholars an assignment. After the first video, students will have the opportunity to do some practice homework, which will be due Wednesday. After the second video, students will have the opportunity to take their assessment due Friday. Both the homework and the assessment will be given feedback by teachers. The Wednesday homework, they should get feedback by Friday. And the Friday assessment, they will get feedback by the following Wednesday. So I'll stop there because this was a lot of information just based on the model. Do we have any questions here? I'll wait about 30 seconds. If not, I will continue with the following updates. Awesome. All right. So as mentioned, this is the model for teachers to upload work. However, every day, teachers have one assigned hour for students to receive support. We call them office hours. They are based through Google Meet. So each teacher has a Google Meet room link that students can access and log in. We were strategic as to how we made these hours in the master's schedule so that students have an opportunity to log into these hours throughout the week. One thing to know is that these hours are not mandatory. So students do not have to join the hours for their teachers. However, it's highly suggested if students are struggling, if they need support, if they want to get some tutoring, if they want to get feedback on the homework practice that they have. So these are, as mentioned, 1 hour a week for every teacher. During this block time, as mentioned, and I'll stamp again, students can ask questions. They get personalized feedback. At the end of each Friday, I mentioned students complete an assessment. If a student is struggling and the teacher notices that the student is struggling, we will recommend and we will send an email to students and we will connect with them, recommending them to join the office hours. So although these office hours are optional, we will be recommending students who we feel need that extra support. Any questions on office hours? All right, if no questions, I'm going to go over if your child has an IEP. So if your student receives services in school, such as counseling, speech, time with an RSB teacher, they will continue to receive these services. You should be receiving a letter this week, actually today. It's called the prior written notice, which will explain the minutes and the services that students will receive. Resource teachers will continue to offer office hours and will be connecting with students weekly to ensure that they get the extra support and minutes that they would have otherwise gotten here at school. So Lucy has been logging in, but it says it's too full. Do you know? Give me 1 second.
Is this for office hours? She should be able to log in. Up to 250 people can join office hours. So if that does happen, just have her email me and I can try to troubleshoot, or she can connect with the teacher and the teacher can try to invite her directly.
Yeah, one of the things that we've gotten from teachers, it doesn't seem like too many kids are logging into office hours. So there may be a glitch because I would doubt that more than 250 students are actually logged on to that session, given that we offer it 5 times a week. So if she's trying to log on and she's encountering this issue, please connect with one of us and we can support.
Yeah, and if she also wants to just message the teacher, like send them a quick chat or an email letting them know, the teacher can help troubleshoot that.
Thank you. All right. So I'm going to go over distance learning overview and expectations around advisory. So advisory teachers, advisory in general, we offer it 3 times a week. It's Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And this is an opportunity for teachers to connect with their students. So scholars will have these check-ins with the advisors to make sure they're checking in on their well-being, academics, and any additional support that they may need. This is more of a check-in. There is no assignments for this particular class, but it is an opportunity for them to engage with their teachers, feel connected, and get that support that they otherwise would have been getting had they been here on campus. There will be no grade for advisory, and I believe I had mentioned that. For attendance, every morning, there's a Google form that's sent out at 8 a.m. for attendance. This is the way we have been taking attendance here at school. Every student must complete the form by 10 a.m. Students who have not completed the form by 10 a.m., we then have a system where students and parents are contacted either through phone, text messages, or emails to ensure that we know that student is active, doing homework, present, and doing the work that they should be doing on a daily basis. Any questions on attendance or advisory?
I just want to stress really quickly, advisory, we do need students to join Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's also an opportunity for us to just check in and to make sure that they're doing okay and they have everything that they need. So please make sure that they're up and they join the class. It's only 15 minutes, 8 to 8:15. If they want to go back to sleep after that, that's okay. But we do need them there and present those 3 days a week.
Perfect. Reassessment, students had the opportunity to reassess last week. Grades will be updated by this Wednesday. Teachers will be updating grades, and then a survey will go out to students so that they identify which classes, which elective courses they would like to freeze if they have a grade of an A or a B. I'm going to answer, so it says, but advisory grade is not, so the advisory grade, they'll still get the credit for the class, but because we're not giving students any work during advisory time, it's just a check-in in the morning. It's a pass, no pass. So just so I could do a recap of elective courses and the way grading will happen for elective classes, students who have a survey will go out today and it will be due on
by Friday. So the survey is going to go out on Wednesday evening. I will send that out around like 6 p.m. I'll go through the breakdown of each and every single one. I'm asking that students complete the survey by Thursday at 12 p.m. So Thursday noon. Like that, we're able to follow up with students that didn't get to complete it. Do you want me to go through that?
Yeah, just finish it.
So just to kind of go through, if the student has an A in an elective class, they may lock their grade. So they may decide to keep whatever that grade is. And the final grade that will show up on their transcript will remain an A. If a student has a B in the class, they may lock their grade, or they can also decide to stay in the class and just continue to try to raise it up in order to bring it up to an A. A student with a C may not lock their grade. They must continue in the class and engage in the coursework in order to get an A or a B. A student with an NP may not lock their grade. They need to continue to engage in the coursework in order to get to an A, B, or a C. So again, this is for any student with a B- or higher. They will have the option of locking their grade. I've had a lot of questions about what it means to lock the grade. It essentially means that if I'm a student with a B, my final grade in that class, if I choose to lock it, will remain a B. That is what will show up on my transcript. That is what colleges will see, and I will still get those 5 credits, and I just will no longer have to worry about completing the coursework for that class.
Any questions on reassessment, elective courses, or locking grades? So they check into advisory 3 times a week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 8:15.
And then advisory, it's really important that students join. We will also be sharing important reminders and messages and updates with students. We may have some raffles going on sometime soon, so we just want to make sure that students are there.
So there are questions. The question came up and I had Ms. Salazar answer that. It asks, how do I know if my classes are locked?
Okay. So again, we will be sending out a survey. Every student will have to indicate, for example, if I'm a senior, I might be taking criminal justice, I might be taking kinesiology, and possibly drama as well. For each of those classes, I will say I have a B in kinesiology. Yes, I want to lock it. I have a B in drama. No, I don't want to drop it. I want to continue with the class. Once you have done that, we will reach out to you to let you know. We'll verify all the grades and everything, and then we'll confirm with you that, you know, this is what you want, that we're locking your classes, and then you'll know which classes you need to focus on for the remainder of the semester. But as of right now, no classes have been locked. I want to clarify that. As of right now, you're still enrolled in all your classes. Grades are still being updated all the way until Wednesday. So you might have had a B-, maybe after reassessments, hopefully that went up. But in the case that your grade goes down, I encourage all of you to still continue to do your work this week just to play it safe.
Perfect. So just to stamp that again, the question was, will students be receiving the survey? The answer is yes. They will receive it on Wednesday, and it will be due on
Thursday.
Thursday.
It will be due on Thursday at noon. And that will give us time to follow up with any student that hasn't completed the survey.
Perfect. Before I transition, so my next topic for today, it's a new schedule proposal for next year. Before I begin discussing the proposal, I just want to take a minute to answer any last-minute questions that we have around distance learning. Are there any other questions or items that I may not have covered that you have questions about? So I'll take a minute to wait and see if there are any questions on the chat. And if not, I will then continue with our new schedule proposal.
And there's a reminder from Ms. Castillo, for any seniors, it's really important that you maintain, you're passing all your classes, but specifically for those admitted to a UC, you must maintain a B average or higher. That does not take into account honors or AP that boosted GPA, so it needs to be a B or higher just overall.
Any other questions on distance learning? All right, so now I'm going to transition to a schedule proposal for next year. So this will apply to any student who's currently in 9th through 11th grade. If you're a parent of a senior student, this will not apply. However, I encourage you to stay because I have some senior information at the end of this presentation. So our current school day and bell schedule, we start every day at 8 o'clock and end at 3:45 p.m. on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. On Wednesdays, we start at 8 a.m. and we end at 1:45 p.m. In the week, students have a total of 1,868 instructional minutes. The proposal for next year is that students begin at 8, so the start time will not change, but students will be released at 3:15 p.m. every day. So instead of being released at 3:45 on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, they will be released at 3:15. It is 30 minutes earlier. On Wednesday, students who before this new schedule proposal would be released at 1:45. This time on Wednesday, students will still be released at 3:15. So essentially, the entire week will end at 3:15 p.m. The total instructional minutes would be 1883. So we would actually not be losing any instructional time. We will go from 1868 to 1883. So it's just a short increase in minutes. However, students are being released at 3:15 every single day, which is 30 minutes earlier, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and at 3:15 on Wednesday. So I want to talk about the advantages of this proposal, and then I'll take any questions. So to begin with, students are being released at 3:15. One of the things in our current schedule, students start their day with first period on odd days, and they start their even periods, second period on even days. What this does is when students are tardy in the morning, and believe it or not, there are several tardy students, they tend to miss the same classes. So throughout the week, they lose a lot of instructional time with first and second period. However, in this new schedule, the periods are staggered, which means on Monday, they start with first period. On Tuesday, they may start with third. On Wednesday, they may start with fifth. So the starting period is different every day, which means they will not be, if a student is someone who's continuously tardy, they will not be missing the instructional times of that class throughout the year. Earlier dismissal will also allow scholar athletes to attend games with less impact on instructional time. So currently, if students are in sports, oftentimes they have to leave school early to attend those games. So they're leaving at 3 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., which means they're missing the last class. With this earlier schedule, if students are in a sport, they will not be losing much instructional time to attend those games and those practices. In addition, by ending earlier at 3:15, students will have more time to study, complete homework, and participate in extracurricular activities after school. One of the concerns that I often received from parents was that when students, if we were released at 4 p.m. and students had to stay for tutoring or extracurricular activities, it got dark pretty early, which meant students who didn't have a ride or students who took buses, they were riding really late at night. And parents oftentimes feared for the safety of their child. So if we dismiss students at 3:15, students can engage in extracurricular activities much earlier. They could attend tutoring much earlier, which means they will be home much earlier, and they will actually be going home when there's still daylight. Additionally, with this early release, many scholars will have time to enjoy more time with family. And I know oftentimes a lot of our students have to pick up brothers and sisters from schools. So given that the time is a little different, it would give them the opportunity to be able to do this if this is something that they typically do on a daily basis. And lastly, with an earlier dismissal, although we have an earlier dismissal, our staff is still required and contracted until 4 p.m. However, those last 45 minutes of our day will be used for additional planning and coaching so that we can ensure that the instruction of students is much stronger. Our counselors can have more time with students when it comes to college applications, summer programs. So there's just much more time in general to work with kids. We wouldn't have to be pulling out kids out of classrooms to do this work as often, and we would get to do more of this work after school with students. So these are the advantages of this proposal. I'm going to stop there and take any questions that you may have. Questions or thoughts? How does this, do we have any non-senior parents? So this is, what is a due date or time that students should turn in? Can we just, I'll hold on that question around assignments. Maybe we could answer it there. I just want to answer the questions around the proposal first, and then I can transition and ask that question. Do we have any thoughts about the schedule and the early release? Are we in agreement? How do we feel about it? I'll take about another minute. Yeah. So in the meantime, that I'm gonna just gauge to see if there are any other comments or questions. I'm gonna answer one of the questions around instruction on there.
In terms of the assignments, every student is to watch 20 to 30 minute pre-recorded videos. Those are uploaded on Mondays. There's one practice assignment due on Wednesday, and then their assessment is due on Friday. So students should be turning work, one assignment for every class by Wednesday, and then the other one on Friday.
So I'm reading the comment. I see that most parents believe are in agreement around like it being better all around. I think the idea for me, even as an educator, I think the fact that kids get to leave earlier after like tutoring and extracurricular activities, I think that's nice all around. I know oftentimes our girls are scared to walk home. Parents are always worried. So I think this would be much better for our kids overall. As mentioned, the instructional time does not change. We don't reduce the time at all. They actually have about 12 to 15 minutes more in the week, so they're not really losing any time. So someone asked, does that mean they will no longer have a short schedule on Wednesdays? And the answer is no. In order to keep the same instructional minutes, I had to adjust the days. So so what we had to do is have the dismissal at 3:15 every single day to ensure that we did not lose on instructional minutes. Will all the info be sent in mail so we can review at home? Yes, we will. All the information that we are, actually might not be through mail, but what we could do, we will send it through Parent Square, and then we will also add this information in the Tiny URL website so that you can look at all this information on there as well. Any other questions around, I'll take questions right now before I transition into seniors, around distance learning or the schedule proposal. All right, so if there are no questions, if you are a senior parent, I'm going to go over some updates. As hard as this may be to say, and as I'm really sad about the situation, prom, grad night, and in-person graduation unfortunately has to be canceled. We are following the guidance of our district, and we will not be able to have prom, grad night, and an in-person graduation this year. for the safety of all. However, we are planning a virtual graduation for students. The date that has been selected is June 20th. One of the things that I've been thinking about, and I'm trying to gauge interest from parents, but also our senior students, is having an in-person graduation in December. Originally, I was thinking of having an in-person graduation in July, but the feedback and the guidance that I got from my district is that we probably still will not be able to get together in large groups in July. So I don't want to have a date set for July when the likelihood is that this is not going to happen. I'm hoping, and I really think that by December, this might be the case. So I wanted to mention that we will do. Unfortunately, we cannot have this for our students. We cannot celebrate them like they deserve. And I know nothing will ever replace that in-person graduation in June, but Ms. Salazar and myself and the school in general will do whatever it takes to make this virtual graduation as special as possible. But I do want to open it out there to give students the opportunity to have an in-person graduation in December after students come back from their first semester of college. We did send out a survey to students, and it did seem that several students were interested. However, we will be sending a survey once again, probably in October, to ensure that the interest has not changed. So someone wrote, most seniors will be off to college in December. Actually, students get their winter break in December. So after their finals, they get about a 3-week break where they can come back home, which is why December, we would probably gauge the end dates of most of all colleges to ensure that our students are back when we select that date. Any questions here? I will transition into reimbursements for packages, but before I do that, I want to see if there are any questions, thoughts.
Yeah, and I just really want to reiterate what Ms. Diaz mentioned. This has been really hard and really emotional, just as we're having this conversation with you all. Because we know how hard you've all worked, and we know that for a lot of you, you are the first in your family to graduate from college or graduate from high school and go to college. We were also first generation college students ourselves, so we were the first in our families to graduate from high school. So I just really want to stress that even if we can't get together in person right now, we will do everything possible to make this special for you, to celebrate you. And if it means that we have to wait a little longer, if you're all willing to, we're willing to put in the work and make that happen to get together and to celebrate you in person too.
Yeah, I know I see a comment here that says we want to make it special for seniors, and I want to do the same. So my goal is that if kids are into it and they want this and parents want this, like I want to make this happen in December. I'm really hoping everything's safe and clear by then. And kids will be back from college early August. So someone wrote, why not early August? Just guidance that I have gotten is we don't know if they're going to give us the okay to get together in large groups, even by August. So I don't want to promise something in August that may not be able to happen because it might be very questionable. In addition, some students who are going to college start in August. So it wouldn't be fair to only give the option for some students to attend the ceremony. So there's two reasons, right? Like we don't know who's going to be here, but we also don't know if we will get the okay, which is why I know December is far out. But I think it's probably the safest bet in terms of the date and the month. As Ms. Salazar mentioned, even having this conversation, I wasn't prepared for this. This has been like really difficult for all of us. And I said it to the kids in a video. For me, this is my only reward is to see the kids graduate and not having the opportunity to see them do this. Like, it's really hard, and I can only imagine how hard it is for them and for the families. But I don't want to give up on celebrating them, and I want to give them that opportunity if they are into it and if they want it in December. This does not mean we're not going to celebrate them in June. We're still going to have a virtual graduation. I know it's not going to be the same, but we promise we will do whatever it takes to make it special. We've actually began the planning. And if there are any recommendations, any suggestions, we're open to anything.
So we saw the comment. As Ms. Diaz, like I said, this is a very emotional conversation, and just to see this comment, it means a lot. So we appreciate you, I believe it's Erica, just stating that you feel that you've gotten a lot of support for your daughter and that you want to do something special for the seniors and also for the staff. And all we ask of you all right now is just to make sure that you're staying home, that you're taking care of each other, that you're there for your child, that you're patient with us as we're figuring all of this out, that you reach out if you have any questions or support. Just we're in it together. But those words of appreciation definitely mean a lot. And I would just say I encourage you to reach out to the teachers as well, or just have your students do the same, because we're all in this together. We're all learning together. And just remember that, we are here for you.
And if you have any suggestions or ideas, feel free to send us an email to myself, to Ms. Salazar on Instagram. And reach out. We're open right now. We're trying to gather as many ideas as possible to make this special. So to transition from that, I know we were paying packets for many of these events. We are getting ready to do reimbursements for packages, and the dates as of right now, they're April 28th and 29th, which is next Tuesday and Wednesday, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Students, and we will write it on here as well, students were sent a link to sign up for a pickup time so that they can come. We're trying to stagger the time so that people are not here at the same time. We highly encourage that it's parents who pick up the money, just because we want to make sure that they get everything that they turned in, that we signed, that you fully get refunded the entire money that you gave as a deposit. Ms. Salazar is including in the link, in the chat, the link where you can sign up on the time that you would like to come in to pick up your refund. Any questions there?
And again, this is only for any students and families that made a payment towards their senior package. We have about 70, 80 students. We do ask that you practice social distancing when you do come into the school, and that you are wearing a mask, just to make sure that we are all, being mindful of each other. That question, I just wanted to also add, I sent out a senior survey to all the seniors last night. I have about a third of them that have submitted already. It needs to be completed by the end of the day today. The link is also included on there. And one of the questions that I asked was whether or not parents have a checking account, so they can make sure that they answer that. We also gave them the option of, we asked whether or not they wanted a cap and gown. So make sure that you're connecting with your senior, regardless of what it is, whether it's so that they can wear it during the virtual graduation, whether we do have that graduation in December. I know for a lot of you that, a cap and gown is extra special. So connect with your senior. We can take that amount out of the senior package payments that were submitted. And then the second question was whether or not they wanted a yearbook. That amount can also be deducted from whatever money would be reimbursed to you. So if they can complete that by the end of today, so that we can start preparing and processing all the reimbursements.
Are there any other questions around the reimbursements, graduation, before I continue? All right, so another senior update, like currently our counselors are still supporting our students with college decisions and transitions. As some of you may have already known, Mr. Mata is currently on leave. He just had his baby girl yesterday. He hasn't fully announced to everyone, but I'll announce it here. He had his baby girl, so he won't be able for a few weeks to work with students. However, we have Ms. Castillo, Ms. Lily, Mr. Mo, and Ms. Salazar who are supporting with college choice conversations. So make sure that they stay connected. We want to make sure we continue to support students with the process, getting them enrolled for college, making sure they make the right choices. Named Ms. Navarro, who's our school psychologist, and our social work interns are still supporting with social emotional needs. So any questions or concerns, please email Ms. Salazar so that you can get connected. Lastly, please encourage your son or daughter to continue to check emails. We want to make sure that they do not miss deadlines, whether it's deposits, confirmations, or whatnot. I'm going to let Ms. Salazar see if she wants to add on around college.
Yes. So there's a few reminders. Mr. Mata is still worried about the seniors and wants to make sure that they're doing everything they need to do. So every senior needs to commit to a school, I would say by the end of this week if they haven't done so already. We've met with pretty much everyone. We've reached out to families and students and had those conversations already. For those that are undecided, please connect with me or connect with Ms. Castillo so that we can follow up with you and the family and help you make an informed decision. In addition to committing to a college, there's oftentimes a deposit that has to be paid in order to reserve that spot at that particular college. There are times when we can waive that, but we need to act quickly so that the college can get back to us as soon as possible. Aside from that, students need to make sure that they pass all their classes because their admission is conditional and it can easily be taken away if they don't pass their classes. If they're planning on dorming on campus, there's a housing deposit that we have to prepare for, and typically that application is also due May 1st. And then the last big expense that we want to prepare for would be orientation. Orientation is typically required in order to start the matriculation process and register for classes and everything. So at this point, all students heard back from their colleges whether or not they've been accepted. And by the end of this week, we need to make a decision. For students that were maybe not accepted or not happy with their options when it comes to 4 universities, we are supporting with the community college application process. Ms. Lily is leading that work and having a lot of sessions for that. So if there's any questions around any of that, let us know. Do know that there are deposits that will come with that, and hopefully these senior package reimbursements will make this a little easier on families and on students as well.
Are there any questions around, once again, around graduation, college support, reimbursements? And then I'll wait for a minute and then we'll transition to my last slide.
There was a question, what if you haven't heard from colleges? So if you have any questions about just portals and college acceptances, email me. I'll add my email on the chat box. Email me and I'm happy to connect to just support with next steps.
All right, so then my last slide is just generally around open enrollment for our school. Currently, we have received 100 applications for next year already. So this is fully enrolled students. We still have other applications with pending documents. So currently we have 25 more spots left. So if you know of anyone who's interested, or if your son or daughter, or if you have a sibling that needs to enroll and you have not done so already, please make sure you do so. As mentioned, we only have about 25 spots left. So we want to make sure that we are fully enrolled for when August begins. If you do have any questions around enrollment, I want you to connect with Ms. Lisseth, and I'm going to go ahead and write her number on here.
The number is 920.
And once again, if there are any other questions, just want to say thank you. I want to encourage you to continue to ask for help, for support. We're here to help at any point. So connect with us. We want to make sure that we provide you everything you need so that you're successful academically. I know Ms. Salazar has also been posting on Instagram if we need support with food banks, if we need support with anything, all the resources that we're getting, we're putting them on there. We're also including them in the tiny URL. So stay tuned with those in those two areas. That's where you would get all of our information. This PowerPoint, I probably will make it into a Word document and send it via Parent Square and also add it in our tiny URL. I'll write it on here as well in case you've forgotten or haven't used it often, so that this is where our most updated information is at.
And again, just thank you for the kind words and just appreciation all around. We need to remain positive and just, spread that as much as we can. We just want to reiterate, we are here to support, regardless of whether you're a senior, a ninth grader, or anywhere in between, whether it's anything academic related or even if there's some, we're sharing that information with you also. Get that information for yourself, but also share it with others so that we can help one another out.
Perfect. Well, thank you all once again. Thank you for joining. If there are any questions, as mentioned, feel free to email both of us. And if there's no other questions, I'm going to say goodbye and thank you once again.
So, most number.
I'm going to add on here our front office number in English and Spanish. So Mr. Mo is answering our English calls, and I'm writing the number on there. I can answer 619 88 8428. Thank you all, and have a great day. We can end.